Good morning, good morning. Welcome to 4x8 Paper Stuff. Welcome to June. I will tell you right now, this video is lots of blabbering. There's no work. It's just me telling you what I'm going to do for the month of June. So if this isn't for you, come back tomorrow when I actually start the project. But this is all the thought process and my ideas and all the ephemera and things like that I'm going to use and how I'm going to organize it and what I'm going to put it in. I finally eventually get to the end of all of that and through all of that by the end. Sometimes I thought it through as I was actually filming this video. So I worked through a lot of stuff with you guys. This is me working through something, but it's going to take 27 and 0.03 minutes. So it's just chatter. And I will see you all tomorrow working. Woohoo! And my camera angle. I cleaned off my desk and I moved one thing. And I thought the camera would be okay, but I chop off the top of some of the stuff. I apologize for that. I'll work on that again tomorrow. But I was like, what else could I document that I haven't done already that would give me a reason to document something and use my paper and play with my paper and touch it every day like I love to do. And I came up with an idea about mid-May. How about museums? My favorite museums. I picked out 30. Now, I think I'm going to back that off and get it down to 5 or so. Why? Because I came up with categories that I want to do for each museum. So my list had 30 museums and approximately the year I went there. And I was like, do I want to do this? Day before yesterday. 2 days ago for you, I decided should I narrow down my list and extend the pages of each individual museum? I'm not sold on that's how I'm going to do it, but I think that's how I'm going to do it. So I'm narrowing down my list as of now and putting like 5 pages to each museum, mainly because I want a collage. I want to do a little watercolor. I want to do documentation because I love learning by journaling. So I want to learn by journaling. I came up with 7 things. They're on my phone, which is with you. Anyhow, I have 7. I love the number 7. Kurtie, you know this. I have 7 ways I want to document each museum. I love collaging. I love documenting. I love watercoloring. And I want to do that for each one of these museums. So I'm not going to tell you which museums I'm going to do until I start doing them. Because I got to bring you in suspensefully. But I do have a ton of stuff. And this is just the beginning. I have this bin, which has all travel and or museum washi tape. A couple essential pens and tools and paint markers and things like that. And then I have things from old trips or things that I've collected or things that I've been given. I believe I was given this in 2016 from Paris. I have things that I've made. I've had tickets from leftover. And I just watched. I have scrapbook paper. I have acetate stuff. I have bags from certain museums that I have collected. I have stamps. Stickers, paper, little sticky notes, rub-ons, anything you can think of, I've got it. Museum maps. Now, what am I going to use as my journal? I'm not sure yet. I have a couple options. I think that was all of them. Oh, well, here's another one. I have ephemera from old trips that I still have been holding on to. This is a way to use up some of the ephemera because I can't get rid of it. And I've already made 2 or 3 different journals, scrapbooks, la 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 la. So this might be one way I do it. I'm not sure yet. This is an introduction page. This was from my Red Cross journal, which I did not use this one. I used it for something else, but it's got basically jelly plate paper in here, most of it. Yeah, well, that side's not. And then I did that binding where you like tape the sides together, and then I put an outside cover on it, which was watercolor paper with washi tape on it. I like this size, so I might use this. I don't know. There's a paper bag. It's just, this is just cleanup paper and or jelly plates that I didn't like or whatever. But you can still use this. That's option 1. This is option 2, which I got from Bom Kuchin years ago. And it's their version of a traveler's notebook insert. But it's got the airport codes and keep traveling. And then a blank one where you can put yours, which is CAE. And it's plain, like, not Tomoe River paper, but pretty darn cool. It might be Tomoe River paper, which I love. And I love this size. That's why my name is 4x8, because this is 4x8, the Traveler's Notebook. Then I have this mixed media thing that I got in one of the art box, Let's Make Art boxes that I had a subscription for a couple months. That's probably not going to be used because it's too thick for me. And I mean, I could add tip-ins and stuff like that to this. That would be okay. It would do nice with watercolor. This is a Carpe Diem one. I really probably am not going to do that. Now, my mixed media journal that I used for May, I contemplated ordering some more of those. And I'm this close to doing it anyhow. I love that. It was a little bit smaller. I've already put it on my thing, my bookshelf, so I'm not sure if that's what I'm going to use or not. Or start off in a traveler's notebook that I made, size. But I will tell you what's going to help me. I found this on Amazon. On Instagram. It was one of those things, you know, Instagram advertising. I'm like, what was that? It is a individual, not sponsored. I just found them. They're made in Utah in the United States. And outside of Salt Lake City, I think. They're called Letterfolk. Letterfolk. This little journal is the passport size. And it was $10. But it is called Another Museum in the Books. And it has a page on this side where you can doodle. It's a dot grid system. And then here, excuse me, I have a dry cough. I know, alarm bells are going off in my head. But that's all I have, except for an earache. And a taste problem. But everything else is fine. Museum number, the month, the date, the year. I don't know if you can see this. I'll hold it up for a minute. It has all the documentation on this side and the possibility of drawing or adding your ticket or collaging or painting something here. The paper is nice copy paper. In fact, I should just do a watercolor swatch. So I don't know if you could really, let's just try it because we happen to have our set of watercolors here. And we'll just let it dry while we're talking. This is just an informative video on what we're going to do, what I'm going to do. If you want to play along, that's perfectly fine. In fact, I'm going to use it on one of the back pages. Now, I used a lot of water on that. So we'll see how that does by the end. Anyhow, it has the type of museum, the price, the times you have visited, time spent there, level of interest, crowd level, museum architecture, ratings 1 to 10, reason for visit, I went with, favorite sections, favorite pieces, when I left, I felt like blah, 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 blah. And then down here, it has, I ate at the museum with a check mark possibility, listened to the audio tour, walked the entire museum, bought a souvenir. Duh, don't you at least buy a postcard? Yes. Took a guided tour, felt inspired. Would I return? Yes or no? This has everything me, have always considered pertinent information for a museum. They have other books. They have a pizza book, I think. They have a library book. They have a travel book, like a country book. They have all kinds of different types of this same format. anyhow, for $10. That's pretty darn handy. It fits in your purse. Oh, here's the other ones they have. Oh, no. On the back cover, they have most visited museums in the U.S., most visited museums abroad. Guess which one it is? The Louvre. In the United States, I was shocked. It's the National Air and Space Museum in D.C., which is part of the Smithsonian, which I have been to. Gets 7 million visitors a year. Of course, we're not counting this year. The next one is the Met, which I would have thought would be number one. Let's see. Most of these are the Smithsonian's. MoMA's in there. Houston Museum of Natural Science, which is in Texas, but most of the other ones are Smithsonian or in New York. The Louvre, the National Museum of China, the Vatican, Shanghai Science and Technology, British Museum, Tate Modern, National Gallery in England, National Palace Museum in Taiwan, National History Museum in England, State Hermitage Museum in Russia. Oh, that's on my short bucket list. And then you have Rite of Passage. Have you spent the entire day at a museum? Have you visited the rooftop of a museum? Have you gotten lost in a museum? Duh. Accidentally took photos in a no-photo zone? Duh. Was brought to tears by an exhibit? Duh. I mean, just really cool. And then it has exhibit bucket list, museum bucket list, a map, memorable places. And you can use the name of the museum, the artist, museum, and just repeat that all the way through. And so forth. So I filled it up with what I thought I was going to use on this month. But now I'm not going to do them all. But I still am documenting ones I've been to. So the ones I have documented in here are the Metropolitan in New York City, the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. And I just put the title Smithsonian because there's 15 museums. Hold on. Sorry, that was the mail lady. All right. Holocaust Museum in DC, which is really a hard museum to deal with. The Louvre in Paris. And I've done a little bit of doodling so far. I was going to do the Museum Ludwig in Cologne, Germany. Only because I have such amazing memories of that museum. Some of them very funny. Not exactly for the art, because what we went there for was on loan to Tokyo. And it has a whole story behind that. The Airborne Museum in Oosterbeek, the Netherlands, which is one, I mean, I've been to all of these, but it was highlighting the Battle of Arnhem and the Colmar Pocket battles during World War II. Only because there's a famous American from here that was in this. And it's an amazing museum. And I wanted them to be a variety. And my husband loves military museums, and I do too. The Guggenheim, for many reasons. The ruins in Rome. The De Young Museum in San Francisco. I am from that area, and that's where I grew up. And I've seen several different neat exhibits there in my lifetime. My first one, no. My most memorable one, my most memorable one was King Tut. When he first left Egypt and went around the world, which I was a 6th grader maybe. That was a very long time ago. The last time I was there was 5 years ago to see a Dale Chihuly, which is a famous glassblower, exhibit there. So I have all these stories connected to these. The Les Invalides, is that how you say it? Excuse my French. I haven't done a French dictionary yet. In Paris, which is another military museum, which is amazing. The Yad Vashem Museum in Jerusalem, which is another very, very hard museum to get through. But I think we should all spend time either at the one in DC or the one here or another one, so that any of that kind of stuff can't be repeated in history. This is not going to be in Now, I will have to say, these are kind of fragile pages. They're stitched, so they kind of start to perforate. But I can put clear tape over them and put them back in. Missouri Quilt Museum. I'm a quilter. That's just a no-brainer for me. Doesn't appeal to everybody. The Acropolis in Athens, Greece. Obviously, amazing. The Uffizi in Florence. Obviously, amazing. This is a small museum in San Diego, California that I was trying to, in the beginning when I was going to do 30, I was trying to vary the variety of the type of museums and the sizes. This was a very small museum in San Diego that's in an old military building that's been repurposed. But it had a very special to me quilt display in it when I went. Our museum here in Columbia, South Carolina, our state museum, obviously I had to do home. The Gutenberg Museum in Mainz, Germany, was a totally different kind of museum, and cool and amazing, and hit me to my core just because I think it's a print museum, a journaling museum, typeface museum, font museum. The Cliffs of Moher has a great museum, and cultural center and visitor center and all of that in Ireland, and we were there last summer. The National Aviation Museum in Pensacola, Florida for the U.S. is really cool. We did that probably 15 years ago. The Southern Tyrol Museum, Archaeological Museum in Bolzano, Italy, is a really cool museum for a totally different reason than all these other museums. It has artifacts of people and lifestyles and culture from way back, but it also has the Iceman. And we were lucky enough to see that in 2006 when we were there. And that's a type of the museums I was going to do when I was going to do 30. So really I need about two more of these books because to fill up all the ones I've been to. Now I used a lot of water. It probably will not come through too badly. It does come through, but that doesn't bother me. That does not bother me. I'm not totally blown away by bleed through or whatever they call it. More than likely, I will use this or this. I still don't know yet. Sea lions in Santa Cruz by the Monterey Museum. That's another one. The Monterey Natural, what do you call that museum? Aquarium. That's an amazing museum. I've been there. So, all right. This is my list of 7 things, and I broke my museums down to 7. I have a 7 fetish, so that's what we're going to go with. Every section for each museum is going to have collage, which will allow me to use up a lot of my ephemera or some more of my ephemera. A watercolor of something of the museum on a scrap of paper. I will have the facts where I do all my learning by journaling typed out. A story of when I really visited this museum, fancy title work of some kind, and a zany bit. Now, whether that's a wacko page of just a paint splatter for me, I don't know. It'll just allow me to be a little bit me, a little bit wild and free with my whatever. I'm going to do the Metropolitan just because that's what I consider my home museum, and I love that museum. I think I've been there 5 or 6 times, or 7 or 8. I'm not sure. A lot. I love that museum. I go there a lot by myself. I've been to New York by myself and spend days in museums. And my husband has been several times with me, has taken me several times. He took me there for my 50th birthday a couple years ago. I'm not going to tell you how many. And he let me spend the entire day in the Metropolitan. I love that museum. I can get lost there. I can stay there all day easily. I've seen some traveling exhibits there. I love that. Anyhow, I love that museum. I wanted a variety. I wanted outdoor, indoor. I wanted history. I wanted art. I wanted historical. I wanted it all. So these are the ones I picked out. The Yad Vashem Museum, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, the Jewish Museum in the Holocaust Museum in Israel, in Jerusalem. The Cliffs of Moher, just because that's nature, and it's nature at one of its best. The Uffizi, oh, that is that is a close second to the Met for me. The Uffizi, I love Florence, Italy. In fact, if it gets much worse here in the United States, I'm moving somewhere else, and maybe to Florence, I don't know. The Roman ruins, just because that is just incredible. The Pablo Picasso Museum in Paris. He is not one of my favorites, but just to be in that area, the Montmartre district, and if I say it wrong, I'm sorry. I haven't done a French dictionary. Be in that district, take yourself back. You can hear them talking, the Impressionists or whoever they were in the early part of this century, last century. That whole era fascinates me. And to go in that museum was cool. To walk where Van Gogh painted in Paris was too cool, just too cool. And then the Muséum d'Orsay in Paris. I had the Louvre and the Orsay together. The Louvre is beautiful. It is amazing. I love the art more in the Orsay. It's more my thing. So that's what I'm going with. So we have 7 topics for 7 museums. We'll start tomorrow. I don't know which journal yet. And away we go. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully this is fun for you. Hopefully this isn't boring. I will use all kinds of stuff. You saw my basket of goodies. That's only part of it because I haven't collected everything for all of these. Hold your water, as we say here in the South. This might be what I use. This is an actual Midori Traveler's Notebook, and it's called the Notebook Light. I don't know what this size is, and it's got the little embossed area. It's not the Traveler's Company one that spun off, but it's a different size. It is 4 by 7. I don't know if that's A6. I think A5 is 5.5 or 8.5 by 11 folded in half. I don't know if this is A6, maybe. I'm not able to read Japanese, so I don't know. It is gridded, which doesn't bother me. It is a lot like the paper they use in the Traveler's Notebook. It's not Tomoe River paper. But I think this is the size I want to use. I've gotten these all out of my stash. Anyhow, this is what I'm going to use. Settled. Sorry, Bonkuchin, you're going back in your bag for another time. I keep getting this out, and then I keep putting it back. I obviously am hoarding it, but I saw somebody doing some glue books. This has nothing to do with this series. I'm really into the glue books, which is just basically collaging. But it's allowing me to get rid of, when I have 7 of the same thing, it's allowing me to get rid of 5 of them, glue one down, save one for maybe another project. And it's cleaning out my stuff. I'm getting it pared down. Where did my journal go? Oh, here it is. So yeah, I'm going to use this size. I don't know if this is A6 or not. Gertie, if you know, let me know. If 4 by 7 is A6. And now, I also had dreams of using James Burke's recent travel journal class he put up online, because I purchased it and did it, watched it, saved a lot of the documents and everything. Until yesterday, that's what I was going to do. Follow kind of like his pattern and maybe his thought processes. Doing it my way, but using him as a guide. I think I changed my mind. I looked at it again last night. I'm like, no. And that's when I came up with the 7 things I want to include every time for every museum. So this is what I'm going to do. So now I have 7 times 7 is 49. And I think these have 48 pages. One, 2, 3, 4. Might be. We're going to make it work. We're going to make it work. It'll probably be full by the time we're done. That's my goal. So I have to decorate the cover. I want to do this, though, and leave that because it's beautiful embossed. There's nothing on the back, but this is beautiful on the front. So come back tomorrow and let's go to the Met. I guess this will be the order. Let's see. New York, Jerusalem, Ireland, Florence, Rome, Paris, Paris. Sounds like a good choom, 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 choom around the world. A world globe trotting project for me. I'm excited. I'm like, oh, I could do the museums I've been to as a journal. I'm like, oh, that would work. So I'm excited to do that. So thanks for watching. See you all tomorrow. No more Spanish. I'm back to English. But I did learn that shark is Tiburon. I told my sister that too in California. She's like, I never knew that. I didn't either. Anyhow, I'm stalling. Bye.